just in case they don't have somebody available.
There's like 2 seconds of stress and then
Right.
other than that, it's fine. I can show you.
We're now streaming live on YouTube.
Hi, Kate.
John is supposed to give me the thumbs up that we're really on.
Okay, we are all set to go.
We are all set to
Yeah,
go. Excellent.
I'll keep looking for Jocelyn, and if you need me, just say my name.
Okay, thanks, John. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
Thank you,
you're
John.
welcome. You're welcome.
All right, I am calling the meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. I'll read the statement and then take the roll call. I'm Michelle Rehill, Chair of the Board of Library Trustees. This open meeting of the Board of Library Trustees is being conducted remotely consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. All members of the Board of Library Trustees are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the Board of Library Trustees to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Members, I will now call the roll. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Mitch Cohen.
Mitch Cohen, aye.
Jim Hogan.
Jim Hogan, aye.
Hamilton Soriano.
Hamilton Soriano, aye.
Nita Karanchkar.
Nita Karanchkar, aye.
Jocelyn McElhenney, not here. All right, Charlie Recchia.
Charlie Recchia here.
I will probably go back and forth between calling you Charles and Charlie, just for the record. Joan Scott.
Joan Scott, aye.
Richard Tucker.
Richard Tucker, aye.
And Michelle Rehill is present. We also have with us tonight Jennifer Bruno. Deborah Hirsch. And our host tonight is John Sabatini. All right. All of that. I think we dive right into the actual body of the meeting because I have no other opening remarks. Could I have a motion for approval of the minutes of the January 12th meeting, please?
So I made a mistake and it should be the February 9th minutes. So I don't know if you have to defer that, but I just caught that when I opened the agenda before the meeting.
You know, I looked at something else to check dates and said, yep, dates are all fine. That's great. Yep, everything's fine.
I looked at this so many times too, and for some reason just saw it.
Mr. Parliamentarian.
Hang on just a minute.
Mitch, if we have the wrong thing here, do we have to wait until next meeting?
So it's just the agenda that has it wrong, but I think the set of meeting minutes are correct. Is that right?
It is the correct set of meeting minutes, yes.
Yeah, I would say that that's a typographic error. Would be my take on it. Therefore, I think it would be okay to approve tonight.
Yeah. All right, then I will correct.
I'll hold it.
What's up?
I need to get back here and just figure out what is, the minutes that I sent out were the minutes of February 9th. Was that wrong?
No, your minutes were correct. The agenda has the wrong date on it. It says we're going to approve the January minutes, but we are in fact approving the February 9th, 2021 minutes.
I just wanted to make sure that I hadn't made a mistake because I would correct it if I had.
Nope, that was me.
We're fine.
Okay.
So, and between us, we didn't notice that. Among us, because more of it. So I'm going to back up and I'll say, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 9th, 2021 meeting?
I will make a motion to that effect.
All right.
Michelle, just a second. The agenda also says March 9th. I just looked around.
The agenda says, oh, the date of the meeting at the
Yes.
top is March 9th.
Yes.
But it's the minutes that we're approving. It
Okay.
says January 12th. We're doing the minutes for February 9th.
Okay, got it. Sorry about
All
that.
right. So we're all on the same page at this point. Do I have a second for voting on the minutes?
I'll second that.
Second.
Thanks. All right. Now I have to do the roll call. All those in favor of the minutes, accepting the minutes of the February 9th, 2021 meeting as presented, aye. Say aye. Mitch Cohen,
Mitch Cohen, aye.
Jim Hogan,
Jim Hogan, aye.
Hamilton.
Hamilton abstaining. I was not in for the February 9th meeting.
All right. Thank you. Nita.
Nita Karanchkar, aye.
Jocelyn not here. Charles Recchia.
Charlie Recchia, aye.
Were you at the meeting? You,
Oh, I should abstain. You're right.
yes, thank you. All right. Joan Scott. We're
Joan
also
Scott.
not. Oh,
Right, I
sorry.
need to abstain also.
All right. This is so unusual for us. Richard Tucker.
Richard Tucker, aye.
And Michelle Rehill also says aye. The motion carries in the affirmative with 3 abstentions. Thank you. All right, moving on to the appropriations report for February. I almost said the wrong month.
Sorry, I've got us all backwards now.
It's gonna happen all night. Does anyone have any questions or comments about the budget? I don't know if any numbers jump out at anyone or. It looks like
Yeah,
we're
I have
pretty
a
much.
question. I guess I'm going to ask Jen this. It seems to me like we're in these, we've completed 7 or 8 months of the fiscal year. July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, right? And so that's 2/3, that's 67% of the year. And it looks like we're way under that in our expenditures. We're gonna have a lot of unused budgeted money, aren't we?
Mm-mm.
No, we're just behind in spending it. We'll catch up though.
Catch up on the
A lot of
spending.
it is materials, and just ordering. So we will definitely catch up. You should see the numbers start to align a little bit better next month.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of the things. Oh, sorry. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I didn't wait to be recognized by the chair. I just wanted, this happens too, like there's the big publisher spring publications, so just underscoring what Jen said, that'll really jump Richard in the spring.
If you look at behind Deborah, all the boxes that are sitting behind her, those are all things that we've ordered recently. So those, since they just came in, they have not shown up. They won't show up on this month's appropriations report, but they will show up next month. So we
Okay.
are busy spending that money.
Excellent.
Sounds like a good problem to have, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
we'll get, yeah, I'm sure we can get that spent pretty quickly, right?
I've never had an issue spending money.
Appropriately.
I also
yes,
anticipate
yes,
that
yes.
there might, yeah, there may have been a little bit of a slowdown in spending when between directors. That probably some decisions were held off until Jen came on board.
A
Very
question
true.
I have is, are we going to have some areas where our expenditures are lower because we have not been open? And what are we going to do with that kind of money?
I will have to take a deeper dive into the numbers to give you a better answer. I'm not anticipating that too much of it will be left over.
And if it were, could, with town approval, could it be put into the materials budget?
I believe you can move money between line items. So yes,
Okay,
My understanding is we can move money within the expense category and move money within the salary category, but can't move money from salary to expenses or
one
expenses
to the
to
other,
salary.
right, okay.
Yeah, so if there's money left over from fuel or utilities, something like that, then that could be put to backfill some of the cuts that we experienced on the materials budget. But any leftover salary money couldn't be used for that.
that's correct.
Cool, thank you. Anybody else have any questions or comments about the appropriations? Seeing none, we will move on to the library director's report. Unless somebody has a question or comment about anything on the report, I think the two things that we might want to talk about, and Jen, you had pointed out the reopening. And I don't know if anybody had any questions. Oh, I wanted to mention, I did something I wanted to say. Sorry, I'm going to jump in and step all over your report. I want to remind people that on Thursday night at 7 is the meeting with the Appropriations Committee. I will join you for that meeting if you send me the link to that. I don't know if anybody else wants to be in on it, but I just want to mention it. And now I will let you have your director's report back.
I think, and I also, and I think I sent an email to Jen, I would be happy to jump in on that one as well.
I can send the link out to everybody. And then if you would like to attend, that is perfectly fine. I'm still waiting on the link, but I'm guessing I will have it tomorrow.
I think the agenda was posted a couple hours ago, so it should be up.
Yep, so that makes sense.
Okay.
All right. Before I jump into reopening, I just wanted to give you a brief update on the appeal, which did go out. Mailed it to all of the previous donors. We sent it out as part of our mailing list, or to everybody in the mailing list, and we've been putting them in the pickup bags for curbside. And so far we've gotten about $4,300 in about 10 days. So that's a fairly decent response. So that was kind of exciting. And now I will jump into what everybody is waiting for, the library reopening. I do not have a date, and I will say that up front. There's no specific date that we're ready to announce yet. I am part of the town's reopening committee. So we meet on Thursday, and this will be the first meeting that they've had in a while. So there's a few things related to the town in terms of policies and things like that that will need to be kind of ironed out before we can move forward with anything. So I'll know more timeline wise after Thursday, but I can tell you right now we've been super busy with updating the plan that was put in place. There was a plan drafted by the staff, I think over the summer, and Deborah can correct me if I'm wrong, for self-checkout stations and what we need in order to reopen. So we've had the plexiglass put up at all the desks. That was a big thing that needed to happen. The highway department was awesome. They came out and they did everything. The Mass Emergency Management Agency had a lot of surplus PPE, cleaning supplies, Purell hand sanitizing stations. So we put in a big order. It was bigger than we thought we were getting. It wasn't really clear if we were just getting, individual containers of wipes. We were actually getting 10 cases, not 10 bottles. So everything can be clean forever. Gloves, masks, extra Purell for the stations. There's going to be 3 throughout the building. I just have to put them together, which I put one together. It took less than 10 minutes, so it's no big deal. So in terms of all the equipment, I think we're good. Our next steps will be to finish updating the reopening plan, since some of the information has changed in the last 2 weeks with the governor's announcement and different restrictions. So I think the occupancy changed. I found the square footage of the building finally. That was a thing. So now we know how many people we can, in theory, allow into the building. We probably, it's the actual number is 208 at a time, but it will probably be a little bit less than that to begin with, since you have to, it's usable, accessible space. So anything that's closed off to patrons cannot be counted in that square footage. So it ends up being a little bit less, but it's a pretty big number of people that are allowed in at any given time. We're probably not looking at allowing that capacity right away, but we'll get there. We need to move some furniture, particularly in front of the checkout desk. We would like to have self pickup for holds and self checkout. So we're looking at moving those big display towers so that we can make room for that. We need to move, there's some other chairs and things like that. We probably need to put some directional arrows here and there. I haven't decided if we need to do them for every single aisle in the library or just to kind of move people through certain areas that are kind of pinch points, but that's masking tape. So it won't take an entire, it won't take a super long time. And then we just need to figure out what the hours are going to be, hammer out some cleaning procedures and sanitizing, particularly in the bathrooms. Some of that work is already started in a shared document that we have. So just sort of finalizing everything, increasing the signage. To start, we're looking at limited hours for browsing and computer appointments, since those are the 2 big things that people cannot get right now. It's if you need something simple, curbside is great. We're certainly happy to help people with surprise selections and reader's advisory, but we have not ever found a great way to offer computer use, and you can't replicate browsing. So those are the 2 things that we're aiming for. We're not going to look at in-person programming anytime soon. I'd really like to start small, see how it goes, see what the feedback is, test out, all of our planning is going to be great until the first day, and then we're going to find out what we overlooked or what isn't working. And so we'd like to start small to make some adjustments and give us some flexibility in case something really doesn't work. Yep, and there would be time limits so that people, we really want people to be in and out and be able to get what they need, but not, they won't be able to sit and kind of hang out all day, at least not right away. So that is the information that I have now. I have created a folder. So right after this meeting, I'm going to send everybody access to a Google Drive that I created for the trustees. I will continue to send everything through email. So if you're more comfortable with email attachments, especially with board packets and things, you will still get those. But I'm just keeping everything in one central place. And I figured I'd give you access in case you want to go in and look and see what we've got. So I created a folder for reopening. It has every document that we're using as a reference point. So as deep as you'd like to dive into the details and the nitty gritty of where the decisions are coming from, you can have access to all of it. And we'll keep the draft updated, and hopefully at the next meeting, I will have something to present to you for feedback to determine if the plan is is good with you. I'd really like the board to be comfortable with whatever we do, the staff most importantly, and in conjunction with the town. So I would like the town to review it and give their feedback as well, specifically the town administrator and the Board of Health. Do you have any questions?
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
Actually, I have two. I know that the state has been pushing to have library staff move forward in the vaccination process. And do you have any further information on that? And my second question is, in your opinion, how comfortable are staff with the reopening and their interaction or potential interaction with the public, whether they are vaccinated or not?
So the first question about vaccinations, I know that they're sort of depends on the town in terms of whether librarians and library staff are considered along with teachers, and where do they fall in the vaccination cycle. Unfortunately, we don't have a clear answer. We're still pushing at the state level and the national level to try and get librarians sort of pushed up in the priority. But I think even if we were, it would still be several months that we're looking at before everybody has access to a vaccination appointment. Unfortunately, or they had a vaccine clinic in Northborough, but they're not going to be able to do that anymore. The state really wants people to go to UMass or to Boston or to the site in Marlborough. So right now it's a little bit slower, but we do expect it to pick up and for more vaccines to become available. As for the staff, I don't want to speak for all of them, but for the conversations that we've had, and I've talked to my department heads as well about any questions or concerns that the staff have had. And most of it relates to things like if a patron comes in without a mask and doesn't want to wear the mask, how to handle that, and some logistical things. But I think some people are more ready to open than others, but I think everybody is sort of on the same thought process that we miss people and it's been a year. We'd like to start opening the doors again. We think it is time. I do think that there's going to be some degree of anxiety regardless. I mean, I miss customers. I haven't had library customers in a year, but I still have a little bit of hesitance when you open the doors up and you let everybody in. We've been away from people for so long that we have to reacclimate. So being aware of that, I think we can kind of work as a team to get through that and do as much as we can to plan. And then I think me being in the building as much as possible, being the greeter at the door, with the other department heads helping out, being that frontline person that everybody sees first. I think for me, it'll be nice because I'll get to meet everybody, right? So there's a social aspect to it, and I assume everybody would like to know who I am. So there's that, and I think that'll help too. If the staff know that if there's an issue, we're there to stop it, to stop any problems before they get too far into the building, and also that I am there. So if somebody comes in with a mask and then takes it off, or they're not respecting any of the other rules, that we're there, the department heads and specifically me, to help kind of diffuse the situation and handle it so that we're not just leaving it to the frontline staff to handle.
I guess I just wanted to, in a way, make the statement that, library staff have done a great deal, a tremendous amount during the whole pandemic. They've been absolutely fabulous in the way they've risen to the occasion, and, you know, the curbside and everything else that they've done, just been absolutely wonderful. And as we're talking about vaccinating our educational people, which we should be doing, in my opinion, it just seems to me that we ought to be pushing ahead and pushing as hard as we can to see that our library staff are also vaccinated as quickly as possible, because they deal with the public. You know, we talk a lot about opening restaurants and bars and casinos and all of that baloney, but, you know, when libraries are really essential operations, and anyone can walk into a library, and we don't know whether they've been vaccinated or whether they're going along with the protocols or not. So I'm just going to keep this alive as a concern of mine as we move forward. But thank you. I'm comfortable with what you've given me back. Thanks very much.
Yep. And if it and thank you for the nice words about the staff. I can't honestly say enough nice things about the staff. They've been wonderful. And things have changed so much week to week, day to day through this last year, and everybody's just sort of rolling with it and helping each other out. When I think everybody gets to that moment where they're just so done with the pandemic, and it's stressful and it's frustrating, and it's been a really good team working through it.
Yes, you do.
I plan to keep advocating at the state level for vaccinations for librarians. And hopefully we'll be able to get something kind of working in tandem with reopening, so that the vaccine is offered and available in kind of around the same time that we're opening. But I think looking at the restricted opening with a lot of rules in place to begin with is a good way to move forward until everybody's vaccinated, and just being very strict with the rules and the time limits and mask enforcement and things like that. And then as we gain access to vaccinations, we can start to look at loosening up those restrictions and opening for longer periods of time and things like that. So yeah, we want to keep everybody safe and healthy.
Absolutely.
Do. All right.
I have a question.
Sure.
I guess for Jen. Are you going to continue, once you do reopen, will you continue the curbside pickup and some of the home delivery services, or how will that get impacted by the open hours?
Yep. I don't believe we have any plans to change the delivery that we've got in place. And curbside, we are still sort of going back and forth about what exactly we would do, but it's looking like, yes, we will still offer curbside, just not when we're open, because it would be a lot on the circulation staff to try to organize curbside while we're open and helping patrons. So if, for example, if we opened for browsing from 9 to 1, then we could offer curbside from 2 to 6, or you know, I'm making up times, but
yeah,
there would still be that option. It just wouldn't be while we were open. But we're hoping if we are able to do self-service holds pickup and put everything out on a shelf, then that would sort of be like curbside while we're open, because people could just come in, grab their holds, check them out, and go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks. And I also assume that you probably won't be open anytime in the near future for meetings and for outside people to come in and use the library.
Meetings, I think, will come at a later sort of sub phase of reopening. Right now, the meeting room is being used for quarantine, which the state is still recommending at least 24 hours for quarantining. And I found out today when I was reading the updated guidelines that includes everything that people touch within the building. So we got to figure that out. So the meeting room probably won't be available right away, but we will add it back in when we can.
Thanks.
Nita, you had a question, I think.
Yes. I was raising my hand for long, sorry. Just for the timing, and are we going to continue with the same time frame, like Monday to Friday, or are we having some changes to that?
I haven't quite worked all that out yet, in terms of whether we would be open for a few hours a day or if it would just be on certain days. So I will have to get back to you once we kind of figure that out. But we're hoping at least one of the evenings that we would be able to offer appointments and browsing, and some hours on Saturday.
Mitch, you have a question?
A question. Over the summer, I worked with Deb and the DPW to get plexiglass sheets and things like that ordered. Do you have those in the building now, or are those at DPW? I'm curious as to the status of that.
They were just installed.
Oh, great.
They look
They
awesome.
were, yeah.
Sorry, Jen.
You know, I'm
that's
excited
okay.
but horrified at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, they,
good
we were
video.
jokingly calling the circulation desk the fish tank. It doesn't look as bad as I was envisioning in my head.
Okay.
And everybody seems, it's not claustrophobic or anything, but yeah, it went up last week.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, last week. Time has no meaning anymore.
That's really good to hear. I'm glad.
Yep. And there's extra, so if it turns out that we need to put plexiglass somewhere as a partition for patron use, then we have extra that we can use.
Yeah, I think we budgeted in terms of locations and things like that, all the primary desks.
Yep, it looks great.
Thank you.
Cool. I hope you have a bill scheduled that needs signing very soon, so I can go and sneak a peek.
Feel free to sneak a peek.
No, I'm not only coming in if I am required to be there.
I actually do need you to sign a form thank you note for the appeal. So,
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
I will stop in then. Any other questions about the reopening or anything else on the director's report? Because if there are none, I will again remind you, Jen will send it out to us when she gets it, the Appropriations Committee. They don't usually have a lot of questions for us, but I'd like to make an appearance in support, even if it's remotely these days. So that would be great. If there are no other questions, concerns, anybody wants to know anything, I'm going to say that the date of the next meeting will be April 13th, 2021 at 7 p.m. I believe I said all the days, all the numbers correctly. And if there is no other business that may come before.
I had an exceptionally minor question, and I'm sorry to cut off your
No, that's quite all right, because
for adjournment.
there is
Jen,
other
on the
Sorry.
budget, the FY22 budget that you sent out, the materials and supplies item was red. It's been zeros for the last few years, so I was just curious as to what was being called attention to on that item. And if you don't have that handy, you can send me an email.
I do have it handy. I wonder if it's red because it is a zero.
Okay.
It looks like it's a column that is no longer used, and there's just a residual line item there.
Okay.
I think
that's fine. I just want to make
Yeah.
sure you weren't calling attention to it for discussion or for anything interesting happening with it.
Yeah,
Nope.
I think it's a no longer used line item.
Okay.
I keep,
Makes sense.
I've seen it before, like you said, it's been there for a bit, and I keep saying, can we make that go away? Do we need that there anymore? Okay, good. Thank you for asking that, Mitch. I appreciate it. Now I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Say,
Could I make one last point?
Maybe.
I've been, probably because I'm bored out of my mind, I have paid particular attention to the things that have come to us as trustees from the MBLC. And I've actually enjoyed working with them over the last few years. So I would just encourage you, all of you, to sign up for any of their newsletters and their alerts. And I'm going to be attending a virtual like this session on how to recruit new trustees on the 20 something or other later on in the month. Anyway, I would just bring that up. And when you see these things coming forward from MBLC, they're actually kind of interesting, and they don't take a lot of time, and they help us, be better trustees. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I haven't checked their website, but I keep meaning to, because they've done some webinars recently for trustees and things. So I keep meaning to go and look, because I think they said that they recorded them and they've put them up on their website. So it's a good resource.
Yep, it's good.
It'd be a good
It's
resource.
very good.
So, okay.
I'll actually just piggyback on Jim because I just went to the one that they had last month on library space planning, and they talked a lot about the document that's been developed that they used. And I thought that that would come in pretty handy if and when we ever get back to thinking about doing some reconfiguring on our space that's not pandemic related, right?
Yeah.
But it was good. Yeah.
It was. I saw that. That was the woman. Actually, we had talked with her a couple of years. I think I forget her name. Star.
Yes. Lauren, I think.
Lauren Star, maybe.
Star.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. No, I saw that. Yep. That's good.
All right.
Okay, Michelle, I just have one more thing.
Okay.
Nothing with the MBLC, easy one. So any one of you know the Amazon Smile? You can, whenever you buy anything on Amazon, we can use Northborough Library as our, kind of a non-profit. So every time you buy something on Amazon, certain amount like 0.2% or something goes to us. I haven't looked anything online on our website. The library website doesn't mention that.
It's it was set up through, it's actually through the Friends. So the money goes to the Friends organization, and the Friends in turn give the money to the library for.
Okay. So somewhere we are getting the money. So that's what
Yes,
I'm saying.
we are getting the money. Absolutely.
That's one important thing.
Thank you for pointing that out.
No problem.
The Friends had expressed an interest in making some updates to their page on our website. So I'll double check, and if that's not on there, then I'll make sure to point that out so that people know that they can use that.
During the last whole entire year, a lot of people have shopped online, like Amazon, like crazy. It could have generated at least $1,000 of rent,
Yeah, that reminds me to change mine. I still have my old friends.
At least I know someone.
Hopefully they don't see this.
We won't tell them. All right. I'm making a note that we discussed this so that I won't forget. All right. I think that's it then. I did say when the next meeting would be. Is there any other business that may come before the board at this time? Seeing none, the chair would be willing to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Would someone like to?
Move that we adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Richard. And
I'd second it.
thank you, Joan. All right, by roll call to adjourn the meeting at 7:42 p.m. Mitch Cohen.
Mitch Cohen, aye.
Jim Hogan.
Jim Hogan, aye.
Hamilton Soriano.
Hamilton Soriano, aye.
Nita Karanjkar.
Nita Karanjkar, aye.
Jocelyn's not here. Charles Recchia.
Charles Recchia, aye.
Joan Scott.
Joan Scott, aye.
Richard Tucker,
Richard Tucker, aye.
and Michelle Rehal also votes aye. The motion carries unanimously. We are officially adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your participation tonight. And thank you, John, for being our
Aye.
host.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
That was our longest meeting since I
Thank
came
you.
on